how do you make sure, or how do you know when you get some messages, like from who are they coming? Because
will I get there? you know, it's just it's frustrating to want to be at the level where you guys are and help people in maybe like a small, in a town where I'm at.
About the soul overlays, because that was very interesting. Does removing them and helping you move them out, does it help removing limited beliefs, patterns, and or habits?
So I guess I'm just looking to see if there's one area I should focus on, and do I have any blocks that I should be releasing? I feel like I work pretty good on my chakras.
Very pressure on people that they have to have a mission, that if they haven't got a mission, they have to find one and then they have to live it. Otherwise, in some way, shape or form, they're failing.
Would you have any suggestions for me in terms of, getting to that high energy place so I can be, transcending, how I would best deal with that?
This is about your sovereignty, and you own it, and you claiming it. And anything I can do to help you be that powerful person that you are, amen to that, and amen to you being that powerful person.
Welcome to Becoming Awesome with Peter D and his sacred higher self.
A big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. But more than 6 out of 10 of you watching our videos have not yet subscribed. You'd really help out Tracy and I so much by clicking that subscribe button. You'll be helping yourself too. You'll be saying to the universe, I want to focus on my ascension, and then to make it easy, our videos will show up on your YouTube feed without having to search for them. Take that step for yourself, and thank you for helping us. Welcome everybody. We're doing a Q&A with an awakening transmission. There's about 40 of us here right now, which is super exciting. But the energy is going to be coming through the video. So not only will you be able to hear the questions and learn from that, but the energy that's being sent out works on recordings. So you'll be included in this. So stay around to the end if you want to receive the transmission for awakening, which helps quiet the mind and moves you into a better connected state. Okay. And I see a question that somebody emailed me from Rosemary. I will get to that when we get to the question part. And thank you. All right. Before I get into the questions, when I was doing yoga this morning, Spirit wanted me to talk a little bit about the California wildfires because they were such a big deal that's in our consciousness, and a lot is happening across the planet in relation to that. So I want to talk about this on several different levels. Okay. The first of all is on the level of Gaia. You see, she is undergoing clearing. Okay, she is intimately related to us. In fact, Gaia is made up of the collective of humanity and all the other collectives that inhabit the planet. All the plants, all the animals, all the minerals, all of that. All of that consciousness together is Gaia. And we're not the only ones undergoing ascension. The entire planet is ascending. And so therefore, all the densities, all the lower vibrations that we're holding have to be cleared out. And sometimes this is expressed through like a fire or a storm or an earthquake, just like in your body, sometimes it's expressed by you getting a cold or a flu, or you sitting there and letting your emotions out by crying and screaming and stuff like that. Okay, so that's all what's going on the Gaia level. But that's not all that's going on in California. First of all, the more the humans as a collective refuse to deal with the lower dense energies that we're holding, which is all the suppressed anger, fear, all the emotions that we do not allow. It's like there's no right or wrong bad emotions, like the anger's got to go. No, it's not like that at all. It's just when you hold an emotion and do not express it fully, it becomes a density. We as a collective have not been expressing. And because Gaia is moving up. She was tired. She was ready to die not long ago, and she asked for help, and she's received help. And so that's coming to her. She's already in 5D. She's waiting for us to catch up. But the densities that the collectives are holding need to get expressed. And the more as a group we go into denial, the more we get bigger storms, bigger fires, and stuff like that. So this is all part of the clearing process. And it's trying to show what's going on in the community, in the outer realm, what's being held in the inner realm. So basically, it's a lot of stuff about clearing not taking place on enough individuals doing it that it just kind of spills out, and then it becomes these weather or fire or earthquake events. So that's a responsibility for us as a collective as well. There's also negative entities that are on the planet, and they use these events to create more fear because they literally feed off the fear and use it for their control states. Now, most of the really nasty ones have been moved off the planet. All the 4D, lower 4D entities, especially the ETs, the Dracos and stuff, most of them are gone. But it's kind of like what happened in Russia when the Soviet Union fell. All the oligarchs, all the capitalists, the criminals, and the former generals and Politburo people started to create little fiefdoms, and now you get the chaos that you're getting there that's going on. So that happened on planet Earth as well when the higher level was cleared out. Okay. So now you have a lot of all these nasty minions who before were just followers, but now they're actually active. And they're doing what they know how to do, which is create havoc and fight each other. All right. So you're seeing things that are taking place, like lack of government services, of course, but you're also seeing things like HARP, which are weather control weapons, which are fanning the winds and making it even stronger and worse. So you can have more of this go on there. So they can create more fear and more chaos and get it to the place where they're can do more of their control, because they're not really willing to just lie down and let the planet ascend without a fight, because that's where their consciousness is. Now, this doesn't mean we're victims, and I almost never talk about this stuff because it promotes the conspiracy theory and the fear. And part of your awakening is to understand the stuff is going on, and then understand you are sovereign. You are sovereign. And as such, nothing can come to you without your permissioning it. And that's what I was talking about. When you hold these densities, these fears, and these emotions that are unexpressed, those are unconsciously permissioning this. Now, I've got a friend who's got a house who's right on the edge of these fires. And she's been going through freaking out and all that stuff because, home, getting threatened and stuff like that. Now, she's very well connected with ETs and talks to them all the time. And they've been assuring her, you're fine. Don't worry about it. But, as a human, you still see the fire right there. And then what happened in her neighborhood is the fire came right to the edge of the neighborhood. There was going to be an evacuation. And then the winds died down and changed direction. Okay? This is what I'm trying to tell you. When you're sovereign, it doesn't matter if you're in a war zone. The stuff can come right up to you and then move away. And if it hasn't moved away, then that means you're still holding on to densities and still holding on to stuff that's being reflected externally for you to clear. So this is what I want to tell you about the fires. And I also want to tell you that we're not just victims here, not just individualist sovereign. I know of at least 4 or 5 very powerful groups, some with hundreds of thousands of members, who have been meditating to ease the damage and the pain that's going on around those fires. Yeah. So I just want you to understand there's a lot of support, both physically here on Earth and in the spiritual realms. And it's time for you to step up and claim your sovereignty. And in doing that, you be aware of those negative entities that are still around you, but you do not let them define you. You do not start to react from fear and keep playing the victim, I'm so small card. You do not go down the rabbit hole of I must fight up against this and have the revolution and stuff, because that just keeps you in the duality that we're moving out of. And you claim your sovereignty, and you understand sometimes there's going to be some bumps along the way. This is what the ascension process looks like. So there's going to be a little bit of this, and then how much it is, It's depending upon the populations that's being hit, you know? And, I'm not going to get into the dynamics of what's going on in California, but I want you to understand that you are not just here as your own self. You're here as part of a community, part of a country, part of a race, part of a species. So on many, many levels, karma is being cleared individually as the different racial dynamics that are taking place across the country and all those kind of movements. Yeah. The political movements of who's fighting who and why. And then the whole thing, us as a species, are we going to just stop ravaging other species? Those are all the karmas we carry. And that's all being cleared. And so it may look like a fire from time to time. All right. I'm going to try to do one more connection here from somebody who just texted me. I'm going to send that out, and then I'm going to start addressing questions. All righty. So I'm going to ask you to turn on your camera, and then I'm going to spotlight you, and we're going to start with Rosemary Colby. And
Hi, Peter.
there you go. Let me add you to the spotlight. And add me to this too. Beautiful. Okay, Rosemary, go ahead, please, and ask your question. And I'm going to tap in with spirit and give you whatever answer I can give you. And please know when you hear this answer that it's going to look and sound like me, because it is a mixture of me and spirit, since we're always blended together. Go for it.
Well, it's what I typed to you. So I've recently noticed my vibration and my frequency rising. I have spirit tingles. I call them spirit tingles, but it's really my crown chakra tingling and some body vibrations. And it's been happening over the last year. And I'm really tuned into my dream world. And I'm getting many messages through my dreams. And I've been journaling for a year. And I'm at the point where I'm interpreting them quite in depth. And I feel like they're telling me messages, and I feel like I'm moving into this as my next career potentially.
Beautiful.
So I guess I'm just looking to see if there's one area I should focus on, and do I have any blocks that I should be releasing? I feel like I work pretty good on my chakras and my clairs, but I don't know.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Rosemary, you're moving along very nicely. And you know that, and you're aware of that. You just said so and everything. Okay. And your mind is still operating on the past programming. And so this is how it is. A lot of people, used to think it was all a mental thing. If they could just master their mind, it'd be fine. And it's not sufficient. That's just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I mean, if that would work, we'd all be awakened and ascended, right? Then a lot of people get this spiritual stuff. Oh, I'm going to do the energetics of it and everything. And they make a lot of progress, but then they run up against the cap their mind puts in place. And I've talked a lot about the mind. In fact, in the very last video that I released. So for those of you who watch this, if you go back a week, it was from a channeling from Celestis. It's all about how mind puts this cap and limit on you. And it's this little transmission to help you release that. You got to understand that when you move to these higher levels, your mind may not follow you. There's a higher mind and a lower mind. Just like we're ascending, mind is ascending. And it's going to try to keep you down low. And it's trying to keep you personally down low by this thing. I've got more work to do and I'm not sure. Okay. And these things that we just think are normal because we spent our whole life not being sure and thinking we have work to do. Okay. And the reality is, you want to make a little bit of a shift. You want to apply your consciousness to your mind. The transmission at the end of this is going to help activate that for everybody. But you want to apply your consciousness to your mind to sit there and say, it's not about, do I have more blockages to clear? It's about, I've come this far. Thank you, more please. Focus on, I'm receiving, not I still have work to do to get where I want to go. Because you are receiving, and then that amplifies. The blocks will take care of themselves because they'll either show up in your face and slap you and say, hey, do your inner work, clear. Or if you stay really, really low density, it'll show up as a fire in your neighborhood. Okay. All right. The blocks will take care of themselves. The goal is to shift the mind a little bit to focus on where you're headed and what you're becoming and keep allowing that. Now, this brings the whole question about purpose. Okay. And when I talk to spirit, 15 out of 16 times, and the spirit of the purpose question comes up, they refuse to answer. And the reason they refuse to answer is if they told you anything about your purpose, you would stay a little kid running to mommy and daddy on how to do. So the question is not, what is my purpose? The question is, do I trust that I am living my purpose? And then you just do whatever makes you happy. And that is your purpose. And again, it just naturally flows because you're happy. When you move to the higher levels of consciousness, just like you move to the higher levels of mind, you're going to find the only things that satisfy you are service. So that's your purpose. Now, whether it looks like, oh, I should do this or I should do that, that's up to you. You don't ask spirit what I should do. You decide what you should do and tell spirit, help me. Ask for the help and allow that to come to you. That's how you take advantage of this. So this is, I want to share something. I'm not surprised this is the first question, because when I was doing my yoga this morning after I got done with the fire stuff, spirit said, you need to talk about this beautiful person you had a session with yesterday. And of course, your question is right into that. So I'm working with this woman, and for those of you who don't know, there's different levels to what's called awakening. And awakening is not the whole ascension thing. It's just how much of your mind can get out of the way and you can fully integrate with what's going on around you without mind being a barrier. See, for most people, like you hear stuff and then you start thinking, well, is it like this? Or I read in a book, or it reminds me of a song, or you bring up some other trivia from your past, which takes you out of your moment. Okay. And that's what separates you. And the more you're awakened, the less you have interference from mind, and the more you respond to what is happening rather than react. Again, check out that video by Celestis that just went up last week, and it'll explain this in more detail. Anyway, so I'm working with this person yesterday, and I can tap into her field to find out her level of awakening. And it was super high. And first of all, the ego self, my little human place that craves significance, was afraid, well, I'm working with somebody who's more awakened than me. It turned out that she was just slightly below. So I was like, oh. Right. But anyway, so I just found this somebody out of the blue who had this big level of awakening. All right. And then I'm like, well, spirit, what's going on? This lady's got all this awakening. Why is she talking to me? All right. And then spirit tells me, Peter, she's got the awakening because she went through a near-death experience, and because she had cancer that nearly killed her, and she had all kinds of openings, and she had these other experiences and just laid them all out for me. And she had all that. So she's got this level of awakening, but she doesn't know what to do with it yet. And this is the key. I remember the person who helped me awaken, Bhagavan, this avatar over here, he basically said, it doesn't matter how high your level of awakening is if you don't use it. It doesn't do you any good if you don't use it. And so now I had a person who had just naturally have these experiences, but didn't understand what to do with it. How to stay focused on what's happening now, how to be aware that mind is intruding and trying to steer you on a course that you've unconsciously been on your whole life, and then to recognize it and say, oh no, I am not going to be my mind here. I hear you, mind. I hear you natter and chatter, but I'm going to choose this other thing. Okay. And so that's what this is all about. And that's where you're at now. And so now, I don't have a monopoly on this. Tracy doesn't have a monopoly on. I have very good teachers. All right. The Oneness University folks, which they'll not operate anymore because these folks retired and their kids are running it. And I don't resonate the same way with the same teaching, but they're still very good. The Ramp, the School of Enlightenment helped me a lot. But again, I don't follow all their teachings either. The books, Right Use of Will by Cian D. Rohan, Right Use of Will by Cian D. Rohan helped a lot. But again, not perfect. The game is to find what's in you that resonates for your teachers and learn a little bit of how to do this. Eckhart Tolle's really good, but most of what he says is for the people at beginning levels of awakening, not the higher levels of awakening. But Eckhart Tolle's work is all really good. Find this stuff and then figure out what to do with it. That's the place you're at, Rosemary, is figuring out the what to do with it stuff. Okay. And then, of course, don't ask spirit what to do. You choose. Right. And then the bottom line, this other beautiful lady I was with, I had to tell her, and I need to tell all of you who are listening, don't let anybody be your guru. Don't let me be your guru. Don't let anybody be your guru. There's no longer one right path that you must follow. That's old energy. Okay. Learn from whoever is around you. If they're around you, they're resonant with your field, and that means you've attracted them. Learn from them as best you can until you feel like you've got what you needed or you're ready for another tangent. Then move along. Okay? And you know you're going to be one of those teachers. Yes, you've already said that, and you know that, and you're going to share it from your wisdom and your perspective of your own rights. That was one of the most beautiful things I learned when I was at Oneness University, is they said to me, we're not making you awaken just so you can be a follower. We're making you awaken so through your own rights and your own abilities, you can awaken many others around you. And you, Rosemary, are at that place, and those of you listening in, many of you, I'm in your field right now. Many of you are at that place. I can't wait to see what you do with it. Does this help answer your questions?
Yes, it was wonderful advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to let go of the spotlight here for you. Okay. And Carolina, we're going to start with you. And then Steve, you're going to be right after Carolina. So go ahead, please, Carolina, and unmute yourself. And
ready, steady, go. My question is something that I hear around me. It's not something that I'm particularly wrestling with, but I think it's a question that would be really helpful for people, all of us, to get some clarity on so that we can share when we encounter somebody in this situation. There are so many courses and teachers on let me help you find your mission, in very much in terms of a follow-on to what you've just been talking about. And whilst that is very laudable and very helpful to those who want to, I think it also puts an unnecessary pressure on people that they have to have a mission, that if they haven't got a mission, they have to find one and then they have to live it. Otherwise, in some way, shape or form, they're failing, in inverted commas. So from my limited perspective, I see that we have two opportunities, and either one or both is fine to embrace. One is it's the energy, the frequency that we embody that affects mass consciousness that has maybe equal value to finding a mission and actively pursuing it. One or the other or both are, can I use the word acceptable? Words are so limiting in terms of expressing what spirit might perceive. But I just wince when I hear people saying you have a mission, you've got to find your mission, you've got to live it. And we tend to become human doings versus human beings and forget that it's the level of vibration and frequency that we're holding that maybe arguably has equal value in terms of our role here in the world. So I would love some feedback or some thoughts and input on that, please.
thank you. So, Carolina, it's a beautiful, beautiful question you asked. And then you proceeded to answer it in a way that still framed the question. So I want you to go even further, ask the question, and then throw out mission entirely. Okay. Now, first of all, what's going on with the planet is many, many people are starting to ascend. And again, they don't have any rules for it. They don't understand what to do with this new consciousness, new awakening. And that means that everything you think you know has got to be thrown out. Okay. Including mission and purpose. Now, whenever you ask the mission and purpose questions, it's from the mind, because mind is mission and purpose oriented. Mind is only one of your bodies: emotional body, spiritual body, energetic, etheric body. But most of us, because the mind has been such a very fast interface, we think we are the mind, but the mind is only an interface. There's an operator on the other side that is using mind to interface with reality. And we call it understanding. I see, I understand. And then that's all we do. We do not use emotion to interface. Most of us, we do not use our spiritual sensation to interface. Okay. And then because mind is such a fast interface, we think we're it. Okay. Now, a lot of people are getting these awarenesses and they don't know what to do with them because they're not fully connected with the question of what to do. So they interpret it through mind. Oh, this is your soul contract and your mission and your purpose and all that other stuff. And part of that is a lot of people are trying to monetize it. I mean, Tracy and I make our income off of this. We do it through donations and through some sessions and stuff like that. But, you know, we're doing it in a way where we're not trying to tell you that this is the way or this is your mission or find your purpose. No, none of that. But they're trying to monetize it, and they're doing it how they know how and how the mass audience knows how, because they're all mind oriented. That's why we run into a lot of blockages when we say you got to let this kind of stuff go. So now, here's the whole thing about purpose, okay? You came here to experience, period.
Yeah.
All right. You're already an expansive soul who's got all kinds of awareness on the different levels of reality that it inhabits. And then you said, ooh, 3D Earth. You come into 3D Earth and you get a lot more intensity. I want to experience that. Period.
Yeah.
Now, of course, what you're going to experience is all related to the energetics you hold. So that's not your mission or your purpose. It's just simply the energetics you hold. So it might be clearing something in your lineage. It might be this or that, but it's not a contract and there's no penalty for it. It's just the experience you hold and how that attracts the next experience. When you fully experience anything, it turns to bliss. And that's it. And when the bliss comes in, then you're open to source. And not only do you grow from wisdom, so you get wisdom, you don't get understanding, you get wisdom because the experience is complete. And then source gets that wisdom too. So you're literally on the cutting edge of creation. You're making creation bigger by having these experiences and this expansion. And so that then, if you want to say it's a purpose, is a purpose, but it is not, because you're here for experiencing. That's just simply the result of how the whole system works. So I agree with you 100% about what you're saying. And it's time to let that go, because everything needs to go away. You can talk to Trace, you can talk to anybody who's at a really nice level of ascension awakening, and they'll tell you nothing makes sense. I don't understand my sexuality anymore. The politics, I see it for what it is. The economy, it's just really, everything I learned in school, everything I think is science and physical, none of it applies anymore. So part of that is understanding this whole mental purpose thing doesn't understand and apply anymore. And that's where we're heading. Welcome to Ascension. Very wonderful, very confusing. And the good news is, because there's no roadmap, we get to create it.
Wonderful.
All right. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful clarification. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Carolina. And I'm going to take the spotlight off of you. And then Steve, you're going to ask a question. And then Rita, you have your hand up and you'll be after Steve. So Steve, let me put a spotlight on you. And go ahead, please.
How you doing, Peter? I like the shirt.
Thank you. My beautiful wife knows what to get me for Christmas. Thank you, Tracy.
How you been, Peter? Yeah, a lot of what you guys were talking about right now is kind of in a part of what I was kind of asking. I've been studying, metaphysics and metaphysics, mediumship, and all this stuff since about 1990, 91. And I've had friends that are mediums and have told me, that you can do this. And, like you said, it's not a gift, it's an ability, this and that. And I've also had, I'm sure you guys have heard of Paul Selig, the channeler, and he's told me, yeah, you can do this, nothing's stopping you. And I feel that that's kind of like what I'm trying to accomplish with the rest of my lifetime here, is getting not into the level of the lower part of like mediumship, but we're more to the levels of where like you and Tracy are, and bringing the higher different entities of consciousness through to bring through these teachings, and to help people awaken more and learn more about what's really going on, not so much as the connecting with relatives as like a lower levels of that. So I'm just wondering, I mean, I do this or practice, but in all this time it's just like become just knowledge, and I try to contact these different entities, like the ones that you speak about in your videos, just ask them for your help, or all these different ones that I've never even heard of that you guys speak to. And I just don't, I'm wondering, is it, will I get there? you know, it's just it's frustrating to want to be where at the level where you guys are and help people in maybe like a small, in a town where I'm at, then, like nothing's happening. And I feel like, okay, the lifetime's wasted, higher soul, maybe it's like, okay, well, a fractal of self, let's send them and try to do it again,
So Steve, first of all, you're such a beautiful soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Second of all, you got to look at this from the terms of your being, not your earth expression, which is hard to do because you're on earth and you got a mind and you got all this stuff. And it's like freaking out. I'm wasting this life. I'm wasting this time. Oh no. Oh no. Most of us have, especially those of us who are playing the Ascension game, most of us have been around as a soul for 1 billion years. And so what's a couple of 100 years? And it just means that you're beautifully expressing. All right. You're just beautifully expressing how you're teasing out the puzzle of being human and ascending. And maybe, for all you know, confusion is the answer. All right. So see, really, Steve, the game is allowing. It's not like you're not doing what's necessary. I'm in your field. I can feel it. You are doing what's necessary. The thing is allowing. You got to start with very, very small things and acknowledge them, and then say, thank you more, please. So, how everybody's always say, give me a sign. I need a sign. And they're oblivious to the fact that they're driving down the freeway with a sign every 2 seconds. So the things you want to look for are the synchronicities, right? I'm betting there's synchronicity in your life, right? That is channeling. Oh, what? Yes, I'm open up to something, and then something happens to give me a signal externally that is going on and taking place. Thank you more, please. So then we get to the point where it gets even more challenging, in that we got these higher density realms, and they don't use words, and they certainly don't speak English. Okay. And we're trying to connect with them vibrationally. Now, they can only go so far down, right? Because they're in these higher densities. Okay. Our goal is to move up. So you're doing your clearing work, although there's still more to do. Clear. 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. Okay. All those blockages keep coming out. That's pretty much the prescription for being on the planet if you want to walk this path. Okay.
Right.
Now, as you do that clearing work, you start to get these inklings and these ideas. And then what people do is they try to yank them down into 3D. Oh, I don't understand. Make it clear. And so they're pulling it further down instead of rising up, which is what I was talking about earlier, all that letting go stuff. all that stuff where you sit there and say, this doesn't make any sense and I have no idea what this means, but I got a sensation here. Thank you, more please. And then that gives a little bit of allowance into that brain, a little bit of allowance into the mind. And then over time, see, you're in the energy field all the time. So you just play the field of energy game. Do this with your hands and you notice, oh, I can sense them this far apart. That's energy. I'm in that field. Oh, you don't say, what does that mean? You sit there and say, I'm in this energy field and I have this. Oh, okay. Now, oh, I do have a sensation that there's angels. And you just imagine that there's angels. And then if you get a sensation, you go, thank you. Not what does it mean? Because that's keep pulling you and keeps not allowed. And then you expand into it. And then you play the game of, oh, well, I kind of want to say this. And see, I used to do extemporaneous speaking in college and high school. So I'm trained in going blah, 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 blah. So if you want to channel or anything, you just make words come out. If you want to do automatic writing, just start writing. Just literally, I don't know what to write. Stop. I don't know what to write. Just write anything until words come out. Okay. Word, 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 word. You just keep putting them down until words come out and then sentences come out. And then when you're doing that, you sit there and you do the feeling thing. Ooh, does it still feel good? Then these are the correct words. Okay. I'm not getting this channeled. I'm just in their field. And I know that as long as I stay in that field and I keep spouting off what I'm saying here and it feels right, then the words are correct. And if I go down the wrong thing, I'll feel being pulled out and go, oh no, that's not correct. And then I'll come back and say something different. And then over time, you learn vocabulary. 5D vocabulary. It feels like this. And then in 3D, I translate it like this, even though I know that these words are incomplete and inadequate for this. So you have all the tools. They're actually working for you. You're just not giving yourself the permission to let it come in. And then when it does come in, you're not receiving it on the level it's sent. You're trying to bring it into this understanding. Part of that is the mental thing of, I just can't get this. All these other people have this ability, but I don't. I used to do that. Come there special and I'm all messed up, right? Is it ever going to happen to me, right? One of the things Tracy works with a lot is soul overlays, decisions we made in other lifetimes that are still running actively because they're unconscious. Remember, you're sovereign. It's a free will planet. You made a decision before. It's still operating until you become conscious and make a new decision. And I'm picking up in your field that there were certain times where you were smacked around for your abilities. Okay. And so when you're ready and you start doing this clearing work, you'll do some clearing work around that, or you could get a session with Tracy, or we address this in our books. In the third book, we talk about it a lot. Or you can find somebody else who understands soul overlays and can move them out for you, help you. You got to do the work. If you don't have skin in the game, it doesn't matter what the other person does. Okay. These are all coming to you. You're now at that level of, oh, there's a little bit of unconscious resistance here that's coming from something I decided in the past. And you'll release that. And this is just how it is. This is how we tease out the puzzle and grow. So yeah, you're doing fantastic. Love yourself for where you're at, brother.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it. Much love.
Good to talk to you. We're going to take the spotlight off you, and Rita, go ahead and unmute yourself, please, Rita, and then ask your question.
Hi, Peter. Thank you for taking my question. So as I'm on my on this spiritual path, I have this question, like, how do you make sure, or how do you know when you get some messages, like from who are they coming? Because when I go into the churches or some, temples, I'll get messages, but I don't know from whom are they coming.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful question, Rita. Thank you for being here and thank you for asking that. And you're asking the wrong question. It's not the wrong question. It's a great question, but it's a 3D question. Okay. First of all, and I'm going to get to your question in a second, but I have to cover this other stuff. Okay. First of all, we are sovereign beings. nothing, absolutely nothing comes into our field without our permission. So if stuff is coming into your field, that means at some level you're permissioning it. So the first answer to your question is whoever is contacting me resonates with me. All right. So there's a resonance there. Now, the second part of that is that you may not enjoy that resonance. It may be a very low vibration. It could be what we would call a negative entity. There's no negative entities. It's just some of them vibrate lower and they feel yucky. Okay. So you're a sovereign being. As such, it's very important you declare sovereignty. All right. And that means that you make a statement and you put it up on your mirror, you write it out and you say it every day until you believe it. I am sovereign. Nothing, absolutely nothing comes into my field without my permission. Only beings in service to love and light may contact me. All right. So then all of a sudden you've put up a filter barrier of what can vibrate with you and what can resonate with you. All right. And it resonates with you on the higher levels. All right. So now you know that whatever you're sensing in that church or wherever you're at is a high frequency. All right. So then you get to go to the mental part, which is the question you asked. Okay, who is this? And you know that you're in the oneness field, so you're related to it. And if you can go past your mind saying, who is it? You can sit there and just say, oh, I'm in connection with an entity greater than myself, period. But I'm uncomfortable. I need to know. Mind must run show. Okay. You know, it's like, do you walk through a field of flowers and stop at every single flower and go, oh, what's your name? Who are you? Or do you go, wow, I'm in a field of flowers. This is nice. Okay. So once you start to allow that, then the connection opens up even more. Then, like I was talking about with Steve, you play the last game of how does this feel energetically? Now, I just created a mind movie for 2025. So every morning when I wake up, first thing I watch it. And every night before I go to bed, I watch it because I'm in this state of relaxation. I'm in a theta state. So I could see pictures and words. And one of them was I clearly channel names and scientific information, because I want to include that, because I have this adventure of when I'm in the field of some new energy. Oh, who are you? What's your name? And everything, right? I do that too. And I don't get clear answers yet, but it doesn't stop me from making the connection. First of all, I discern, do I like the frequency vibration? Oh, it feels good. Yes, absolutely. Come in my field. No, it doesn't feel good. Out of here, gone. All right. Then if I really want to know, what I'll do is I'll go on Google and I'll type in as many descriptors as I can sense. Oh, it felt this way. It was at this location. It was like this or that, or maybe I see this or that. And then I'll click on the image is not the thing, just the images. And I'll go through until I go and I'll discern. Ooh, that one matches the energy I felt. And then I'll get a name. So I'm still playing that game of trying to figure out that way. Tracy's much better at this than me. She can just get names pretty clearly, but she still keeps a book of angels and archangels by her side to look up, oh, I'm getting this energy. Who has that kind of energy? And then she'll just ask the question, hey, is this you? And again, it's not a yes or no thing. It's does it feel correct to you? And this is the whole discernment game. It's a fundamental skill. I'm going to briefly cover it for those of you viewing and those of you listening, the discernment skill. You say your real name out loud and pause and see how you feel. You say a fake name, a made-up name, first and last out loud, pause and see how you feel, and then compare the two. So for example, for me, it will look like my name is Peter D. My name is Fred Flintstone. Now, when I do that, when I say Peter D, I feel warm, gushy. And when I say my name is Fred Flintstone, I get a little, usually in the gut, sometimes higher, a little, all right? So now I am translating body language, my internal guidance system, my guidance system. I'm translating what that feels like into a simple yes, no, because that's easiest for my mind to understand. All right? So I constantly practice that. And then that teaches me discernment when I'm in the field of something that's true for me, when I'm in the field of something that's not true for me. So Rita, what you're going to be doing if you want to is you play the discernment game till you get good at it. Okay, keep practicing it and noticing when I speak truth, it feels this way. When I speak a lie, it feels this way. Then you ask, okay, is this entity's name this? No. Is it that? No. Until you get the feeling of, oh, it feels like it's truthful. Then you know. Okay. And you may have to live for a while with the idea that you don't fully get it. Like I do. That's why I'm practicing that I clearly receive scientific information and names. But for now, I'm still at that level that I explained to you. Does any of this help?
Absolutely. Thank you. I've never thought of this kind of games.
Yeah. It's like everybody because of mind. And then there's other people who are great channels out there and stuff. How come I don't do that yet? Oh, we're growing and we're learning. That's how come we don't do that yet. So you start where you're at, play the thank you, more please game like I was talking about with Steve, and it grows. And then your abilities get better. But always, always discern if you resonate with the energy. And then always, always declare, I am sovereign. Only beings of high frequency and service to love and light can enter my field, period.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to remove the pin. Okay, hang on a second. All right. Anybody else have a question? I don't see any hands up right now. And that means you're going to have to listen to me yak and blab, which is what I've been doing all along here. So I'm going to encourage someone to ask a question, even if it's not for you, if there's something that you've heard out there for someone else. Because remember, there's going to be hundreds of people watching this video. Yes, please. All right, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm seeing Reem Al Wahabi. Say it for me, please. Unmute yourself and say it for me, please.
Al Wahabi.
Al Wahabi. Okay. Say your first name, please.
Reem.
All right, let me spotlight you here.
Reem Al Wahabi.
Reem. Oh, I remember you. I remember meeting you not that long ago. So nice to see you again. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to see you again too. I have a question with regards to what you were talking about with the maybe Tracy would know more about this, but about the soul overlays, because that was very interesting. And I just wanted to quickly ask about that. Basically, does removing them and helping you move them out, does it help removing limited beliefs, patterns, and or habits?
Yes. So it does.
Okay.
So first of all, for those of you who are wanting to know more about this soul overlay stuff, it's very often, not always, but it's very often, I was a shaman in another life. Something happened in my village and the people turned on me and I died horribly as a result of it. And then you say, I'm never going to do this again. Or I was in a church and I was working in the monastery or in the nunnery and I saw corruption and I said, I'm never going to do this again. All this hard work and it just was okay. So you make this statement and then it's just with you forever unconsciously. Okay. So when you do the soul overlay clearing, you're doing it on many levels. One is the energetic imprint that you're holding. Because remember, you choose to be born again into this physical lifetime. And so that energy is still there. So you're moving that. But there's also the unconscious belief pattern. Now, sometimes it's sufficient that when you are aware of the overlay and you move the energetics out, then the beliefs go. Other times you have to actively do a replacement of new and better beliefs. Now, in my work, there's always the big five. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. I'm not lovable. And everybody I work with, 100% of them, score on one of those five. You know what I'm talking about. We've worked together. Okay. All right. Most people score on 3 or 4 of them. All right. So you actually have to go in and do some unconscious reprogramming. See, this is part of why a lot of the clearing and healing techniques that are on the planet now are not sufficient, because we're getting new information, thank God. But what's happened in the past is people were aware enough to identify, I have a blockage and I need to clear it. But that's insufficient. If you clear it without replacing it, without putting something better back in, then the unconscious mind, the rut you're running on your whole life, will just backfill, and it'll just come back to you. And then you wonder why. Well, I did this clearing. You know how you do these workshops and seminars and you feel so good for a while, and then all of a sudden you're back in the old crappy life and you're wondering how you got there. Did I just waste all that money? Well, it's just simply you took stuff out, but you never replaced it with anything better. Okay. And so part of this is understanding that you are a consciousness. I am consciousness, existence, bliss. I am consciousness, existence, bliss. You are not a mind. Your mind is only an interface to the consciousness, existence, bliss, just like your emotions and your body are. Okay. So if I am consciousness, I am existence, I am bliss, then you be aware of what the programming the mind is. And then you choose, oh, I'm not going to run that program anymore. Now, it's really awareness. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is the last step. And you're just aware of it. For instance, I had a career in public speaking, and I would notice there were times where I would say the same stupid word every sentence or two for weeks, and I would be sick of it. So then I would just be aware of it. Oh, I said it again. I said it again. I said it again. And then within 3 or 4 days of being aware of it, the habit would be broken. That simple. People think, oh, this is my personality. They justify. This is the way I am, the way I was raised. Nah, you're just an unconscious program that's running, period. In fact, most people will have the experience of having driven home from work, and you get home in your driveway and you don't remember the drive. And we take for granted that our unconscious moves us through high-speed obstacle fields that could kill us without us paying any attention. That's how powerful your unconscious is. It drives you home without you knowing it. Now, if it's doing that, what do you think it's doing to create the rest of your life? The whole law of attraction stuff is true, and you're creating all that unconsciously. All right? So rather than having the negative program keep running, you just keep bringing awareness to it by, first of all, doing what it takes to understand your consciousness. You clear. See, given your level of consciousness, you can only do what you're doing right now. So the goal is to get more consciousness. How do you do that? You clear the densities. 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. The second thing you do is, when you do that clearing work, is then you put your awareness on I am consciousness, existence, bliss. There's a program we talk about in our books called a japa. And I learned that at Oneness University, where you just simply spend time chanting that. For those of you watching, you can do this anytime. It's really cool. Every 7 minutes, your mind takes a small break. There's a little gap. Every cycle of 7, there's a bigger gap. So that means every 49 minutes, you're going to go through 7 gaps, one of them really big, where your mind is slightly more quiet. So what you do is you just set a timer for 51 minutes and you just chant out loud, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. I am existence, consciousness, bliss. And you focus on the words as best you can. Instead of letting your mind wander and distract, notice when it does and go back to focusing on the words, so that when you hit those gaps, the programming comes in. When you're done with your japa, when you're done with your 51-minute period, you get down on your knees, because I like the religious thing, but you don't have to. You just sit there and say, Spirit, okay, now fill me up with the awareness. Activate this. Give me the connection to you now, Spirit. I'm open. Thank you. And then you just receive, allow, allow, allow. So you do your japa for 51 minutes, and then you go into this allowance period. Okay, that's going to activate your consciousness, existence, bliss. But like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how awake you are. It doesn't do you a damn bit of good if you don't use it. So then you just have to be aware, oh, I'm choosing the reaction of my mind again. Oh, there's my mind filling me in with this limiting belief again. Don't do nothing about it. Just be aware. All right? And eventually you're going to treat it like your grandmother who has Alzheimer's. Oh, she's saying all this crazy stuff about how I look and how I dress, and she's just saying it again. I love you, Grams. You raised me and everything, but I got to go because you're crazy. Okay. And you start actually having that relationship with your mind because it's not you, it's just an interface. And you know it's giving you bad information, so you no longer react to it. You choose from a place of consciousness to respond differently. So that's where we're all headed with all this. So yeah, the unconscious plays a huge portion of it. And a lot of that is related to the soul overlays, but you don't have to do a soul overlay. I'm just telling you, when you get to that level of clearing, whether it's through just emotional work in this lifetime or what, doesn't matter. Karma's primary, secondary, tertiary. Primary is everything that happened in this lifetime. Secondary is everything that happened in the womb, conception to birth. Tertiary is all your past lives. If it's in one place, it's in all of them. So whether you do the soul overlay route or you just do what you grew up with and your unconscious this lifetime, doesn't matter which route you go. You clear it in one place, you clear it in all of them. You have it in one place, you have it in all of them, because that's the nature of time and space. So I know I've talked about a lot of ground because that was a beautifully big question, right? And so you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm great with that. Thank you so much.
All right, stay blessed. Great. All right, so let me clear this spotlight. And Elizabeth, Miss Beautiful Haverfield, can you please unmute yourself? Or Mr. Haverfield, although
Well, actually, my name is John Nabb.
John, of course. Now I recognize you. I've spoken with you before. Good to see you.
Yes, but I'm logged in under Betty's account here.
Well, that's all good because it just shows the how many aspects to your personality you hold.
Right.
Anyway, John, it's good to connect with you again. It's been a while.
Yes, good to connect with you, Peter. I have a question. I don't know how much you remember from our session, but I've been struggling with this these health issues, which have keep me in pain a lot of the day. And so I try to get engaged with activities and meditation and things like that to rise above the pain so that I'm not, uh, in that low energy. However, sometimes it's very difficult. So would you have any suggestions for me in terms of, getting to that high energy place so I can be, transcending, how I would best deal with that?
Yeah. So first of all, John, I do remember much of our session together, which is a beautiful thing because you're a beautiful soul, and that energy that took place when we were together was, thank you for inviting me in for that. Second of all, you may or may not like this answer, okay? Because inherent in your words were escape, transcend. This is low and I want something high. So there's a whole understanding that you have that keeps you distant from what is going on. So let me just give you some alternate suggestions for wording, and then I'll explain why I'm giving you these suggestions for wording. Rather than I'm in pain and I don't want to experience it, I'm in pain and it really, really hurts. And rather than, oh, this is a low energy, you can sit there and say, this is the energy of my frequency now. Okay. And there's no better energy to get to. There are less painful energies, of course, but there's no better ones. Okay. And there's no transcending. There's fully releasing, which means it needs some expression, which is why I'm trying to give you this. Now, this is really, really tough to do when you're dealing with pain because it hurts and it's physical. And I know I suffered the crap out of shingles. Oh my God, 6 months of wanting to die pain. Okay. And I did all the mitigation stuff that one does for pain, did all the mitigation stuff, the medicines, the meditations, the this, the TENS units, blah, 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 blah. All right. None of that worked until I started to receive oneness blessings, started getting transmissions, and then the pain would ease up. And then at that point, I started going down this road of, ooh, and the oneness blessings came with the teachings. Anything fully experienced turns to bliss. Now, we know that when a person has a blockage, usually between ages 0 and 6, that's the primary times that distortions get put in place. When they have these blockages, a density is formed. If the density is not fully expressed, in other words, the emotion, because we're not just a mind, we're in a body, which means there's got to be physical expression, sound, and movement. We're also an emotional body. It means all the feeling of the emotion comes in, okay? What happens is if it's not fully expressed, the density collects more energy and tries to break loose for more experience coming to you. And then you have a second opportunity to break it loose. And then you either break it loose or it collects something bigger and bigger. And then over time, it turns into old age and disease. Clearly, you're at the point where it's manifested as expression of pain. All right. Now, it doesn't mean it's hopeless or that this is punishment or there's nothing there for you. I'm just trying to be as frank as I can with you about what's going on and why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So the question is not getting rid of what the pain is. The question to me is, can I welcome in what is underneath the pain? For example, I know a man who sliced off 2 fingers. He's a woodworker and he sliced off 2 fingers. All right. And he's a guitar player and he couldn't play the guitar anymore. So he didn't come completely off. One was completely off. The other was just dangling. Okay. So he put the one that was completely off on ice and went to the hospital and said, sew these on. And they said, what? Well, I don't know. I'm like, shut up, sew them on. And they go, well, you're never going to get your movement back. And he goes, I don't care. Sew them on. So I did. And then it hurt like hell. All right. Because he had a physical expression of I've lost fingers and it hurts like hell. And what he did was every time it hurt, he said, oh, good, you're healing now. You're showing me what I need to heal. Thank you. And he welcomed in the pain as part of his healing. And now he plays the guitar just perfectly like he used to. He occasionally has trouble getting to 1 or 2 chords, but he's playing the guitar and he's doing the things doctors told him he couldn't do. And I know this guy is a beautiful, beautiful person. Now, keep in mind, I am not a doctor and I am not giving you any medical advice. Okay. Just got to say that so that YouTube and the FCC or the FDA doesn't shut me down. I'm not a doctor. I am not giving you any medical advice. I am telling you that you may want to explore the emotional reasons why all these pains are coming up. And I can tell you they're going to be big because the amount of pain you're experiencing and the amount of time you've experienced it over your lifetime is a lot. They're going to be big. Now, during the session we did together, I know you had some release, but it was not sufficient because there's still more backlog. And this is the scary part. What? I'm not one and done? I can't just go do some pills to get some rest like my doctor says? No, not if you want to ascend in this lifetime. There are miracles. You can receive the miracles. I have seen people heal. Okay. I've seen people go from situations where they're bent over and hunched and can barely walk and they're walking upright and straight and stuff like that. And their whole personality changes. And they just did 20 minutes a day for 4 or 5 months of, okay, what's the next pain? And you don't even need to go inside to figure out what's there. You've got the physical thing. You can go to where the pain is, put your hands on it, breathe into it, and say, can you show me what I'm holding here emotionally? I know what I'm feeling physically. What emotion goes with it? Now, the mind's going to try to shut you up and explain because we talked about mind extensively, but you just keep playing with the feeling and you're going to find the big 5, sadness, anger, and fear are the emotional expressions. The unconscious beliefs are almost always I don't deserve, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, I'm not lovable. So yeah, that's kind of what I got for you. And I'm sorry that you're in a place of this difficulty. And I'm sorry. And if I was a healer who can just go, it would have been done already. But I do know, because I'm talking to your higher self, that there's some things you don't understand that are going on that are so beautiful. And even though in this moment, in this place of this lifetime, it's coming out as this expression, you're a multidimensional being, and what's happening on other dimensions, because remember, there's different timelines and they're all now. Some of them we express as past lives, some of them we express as different realities. If you could see what's going on in your totality, you'd go, oh. So as you continue to move past the individual pain that you're experiencing, you're going to start to be aware of that. And that's going to give you the juju and the drive to keep expanding. So the whole bottom line is, can you welcome it in? Can you speak about it as, oh, this is a creation, not a punishment. Oh, what was my role in creating this? Oh, here's an emotion. And then just treat it that way, and then welcome in the emotion and stuff, and then see what happens with the pain. Does that help any? I know it's not like a cure kind of thing, and I'm sorry I can't give you that, but does this help any?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you. All right. Any other questions before we move on to our transmission? I got time for one, maybe two more before we go to doing the oneness transmission. All right. I'm not seeing anybody jump to it, so we're going to end with that. All right. So this was something I received a lot when I was at Oneness University. When it first came to the planet, it was kind of cool. There's a lot of cool things that happen at Oneness University as far as energetic transfer. And this was the ability to send blessing, Diksha, Shaktipat through your eyes to somebody else. Okay. Now, I was never initiated in this. I just received it a lot. And then one day Spirit said, start giving it. And of course, I was hesitant. But when I checked with people, they go, whoa, stuff was happening. And I'm like, good. That's confirmation. We're just going to keep running with it. So, and you're all headed here. You're all headed. And that I told you earlier about this beautiful woman I was working with who had this high level. We did a session, and then Spirit said, okay, next time she shows up, you're going to teach her to transfer energy, because she's got the ability. She just doesn't know how to do it yet. So it's little, just steps to follow when you get to this level of consciousness. Anyway, this is what's called the oneness blessing. It's primarily for awakening, but Spirit's telling me, because I've got a whole team with me. You see some of my go-to friends around me, but there's more. And there's your whole field here together. So it's going to be more than just awakening, which is quieting your mind and moving to higher levels of consciousness. There's going to be some physical healing for it, and it's all a matter of how much you're ready to receive. There's going to be some of the things you addressed, the themes that we addressed. There's going to be some shifts and changes around that, plus some other miracles. So allow, allow, allow. That's all I can tell you, is just allow. To make this stronger, we're going to get into a oneness field. Okay. And this is such a beautiful thing. There's so many group powerful meditations out there. But we're going to get into a oneness field. And what's going to happen is, for a song I'm going to play, you're just going to breathe from source, from the central sun, into your heart. And then from your heart to everybody on the call, everybody watching the video, and everybody in spirit. Okay? You're going to breathe from your heart to them and from their heart to yours. There's some pretty high level consciousnesses that I'm being able to see that are tuned into this call. So just on the earth plane, there's a lot of anchoring that's going to go on. It's going to be really cool. But we're also going to bring in our whole teams, which is going to make it even stronger. And then we're going to multiply it by getting into the oneness field. So group prayer makes everything stronger. Okay. So in a moment, I'm going to play a song. And what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in from the central sun to your heart, from your heart to everybody on the call, everybody in the watching the video, everybody in spirit. Then from their hearts to yours, your heart to theirs for the duration of the song. Let's begin by welcoming in our teams. Start by welcoming in your sacred higher self. He or she is always with you, but when you acknowledge it, it gets stronger. You get more permission to do this. Beautiful. Now, welcome in your guides and your angels, your team, who's been working with you. And even if you don't know you have one, just say, hey, there's a team out there. I know you're here to help. Come on in. But if you know their names, welcome them in. Now, welcome in Source itself, whatever you call your name for the god or the goddess. Beautiful. Now, Mother Earth, Gaia. Yes, you're here. You're healing. We're healing. Come together, please. Now, your ancestors, that whole lineage of one, all the DNA you've carried, and two, all the spiritual beings you've been, your past lives. So your physical and your spiritual lineage, all your ancestors, they've been waiting for you to heal. When you heal, they will heal. So they're going to help you. Now let's expand to the inner earth. Oh, yes, all the dimensional beings there. And then the densities of the earth, the plants and the animals and the mineral kingdoms. The other densities, the fairies, the dragons, the fae. Let's go beyond the planet and bring in the angelic realm. Our ET brothers and sisters that are vibrating in high frequency and here to help us. And now we put out an open call to all beings of high frequency and service to love and light. Any entities interested in healing planet Earth, interested in seeing ascension take place for us on this call, on this video viewing, and on Earth. We ask you to be here now and support this. Now, if you care to, please repeat after me. I am my I am presence. And I am one with the I am presence of all humanity. Good. And now, during this song, please just breathe in from the central sun to your heart, from your heart to everybody on the call, including the spirit realm and those watching the video, and then from their hearts back to yours. Do that for the 6 minutes of this song. So this is a beautiful field of oneness we have created. Thank you and appreciate this. Now, during this next song, there's going to be 2 songs. During the first one, you're just simply going to look in my eyes and receive. I'm going to do my best to get out of the way. And so whatever comes through is going to be what's appropriate for this group and those watching the video in this moment. I don't know what it is. It can be laughter, tears, expressions of joy, sadness, or it could be perfectly still. But trust me, Source will be coming through. There's many of you who've received this kind of blessing multiple times. If you feel drawn to, you can actually not just watch, you can actually amplify for the other people who are watching. So you can put your consciousness, those of you who are at a level to understand what I'm saying will just intuitively know what to do, okay, to let your consciousness make it stronger for everybody else. So this is going to be from Source, but also from all of our oneness field, which is all the beautiful entities and expressions of Source that we and everybody we've invited in. So during this first song, you're just going to look in my eyes. During the second song, you're going to close your eyes and just receive. The transmission has already been in place. You've already established the link on both ends. Close your eyes, sit back in your chair, and just receive on the second song. During the first song, it's going to take me a moment to get together. When I open my eyes, the transmission will start. Give me 1 second to get this set up. Now go ahead and close your eyes and just receive, just allow those of you who are already at a nice level of consciousness and can feel what's going on, amplify it. Rather than just to receive, use your intent and consciousness to amplify for everybody on the call, everybody watching the video. The rest of you just receive.
जीवस्य विमुक्तिः एतस्मात् इन्द्रियाणां विमुक्तिः अहङ्कारात् विमुक्तिः मनसो विमुक्तिः ज्ञातस्य बन्धात् विमुक्तिः संस्कृतेर्बन्धात् विमुक्तिः
Now, thank your spirit, thank your team, thank Source for everything you've received. There you go. Ah, so beautiful. It was so strong. The oneness field. Wow. And those of you who are adding your intent to the transmission, oh, thank you. Oh my gosh. So this is kind of how it is. This is where we're headed as a planet. Everybody, my teacher Bhagavan taught me back in the day, if you get fully awakened, you're going to take 70,000 people with you. So start to recognize that you're already pretty high on the scale and start sharing it. You got this. For those of you who are interested in this kind of group connection, every Tuesday night in the US at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for 90 minutes, we get together and do a group meditation. Group consciousness is always stronger and you kind of get uplifted. Those of you who participate get into the oneness field and then just start automatically being uplifted by everybody else in the group. It's a beautiful thing. Gerard is on this call. He hosted on Wednesday night in time convenient for Europe since he's in France. Email me if you're not a member of the community and I can just send you that link. You can try it out if you want to. It's $20 a month after that because we want to just pay for things. Kind of keep this stuff floating. Do join the Oneness community. The links will be below. And because there's free tools on that clearing. If you want some help with that 20 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform, there's tools and they're just given freely. So you can subscribe to the Oneness community, register for that. Remember, this is a YouTube video. So those of you watching, like, subscribe, and share. Please. The way Tracy and I are trying to advocate for ascension is not the same as many people out there. And especially if you find people hitting plateaus where you hit that mental barrier that we talked about a lot today and are only getting so far, maybe it's time to open up to something else. And remember what I tried to say earlier, don't let anybody, including me, become your guru. This is about your sovereignty and you own it and you claiming it. And anything I can do to help you be that powerful person that you are, amen to that. And amen to you being that powerful person. All right. See y'all soon. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.